Okay, good. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today to a beautiful session with Dr. C.K. Bhardwaj ji. So we will be starting with right to enlightenment and the questions regarding that. So Bhardwaj ji, thank you for coming in and helping us understand. So my first question is, could you talk about right to enlightenment? What is it?
Well, right to enlightenment is to understand what you are. Get enlightened about the self, and then what are the sources of the self? Because we understand the self in three different parts, which everybody has known. We call it as body, mind, and soul. Instead of soul, we may call it as creative intelligence, which remains connected to its source, which is absolute intelligence and a capable force, energizes the whole cosmos, including the universal mind and the floating material bodies, each element. So that is the energy which energizes the whole cosmos, including us, because we are also having those three basics. My soul, which is a creative intelligence, remains connected to its source. My mind, which I had acquired from the universal mind, which is embedded with information systems like 2G, 3G, 6G, internet, radio communication, satellite communication, etc. The whole cosmos is further embedded with information systems, like this. And it has got chemistry, physics, maths, all in it. If the apple falls, the scientist calculates the laws of nature and the details start coming. Like every action has got an equal and opposite reaction, inertia, mass and acceleration, etc. So our mind is connected with that mind. So this is how we get enlightened, that we had acquired the mind from the universal mind in the form of causal mind and created a causal body to the cause is to come and feel the creation, time-bound material creation. It has started from Big Bang, will finish into black holes. So during this period, we got to understand and feel, experience the time and material, because we belong to a region where time and material do not exist. Then how we acquired the mind, then created a sketch of a causal body, then how we further came down to create astral mind and an astral body from a single cell to the crown of creation, the human body. And then after the astral, we form a physical form, right from the first single cell as amoeba. How light and sound which you are, because in enlightenment, we got to know what we are, because we have added on the mind and body to experience this creation. Whereas we are part of that absolute intelligence capable force. We are representing. So this is what is to right to enlightenment, that this is how we get enlightened, what we are. Then what is the potential of our creative intelligence, which is like an omni-scanner, all knowing, all pervading. And then how we deal with the mind, which is information. How to use that information is wisdom. So that is what is divine. Everybody should know that he has got that divinity, that wisdom, how to use the information which the mind has collected through experiences and events of life. And then we know that we are a material body connected to those floating material bodies of the whole cosmos, 100 and odd elements. So in this understanding, which Rohit has asked, right to enlightenment, what it is all about. So it is knowing yourself and your source and your potential of each thing. What is the potential of your creative intelligence? What is the potential of information with you? It's an information age now. information technology is there, AI is also there. And how this absolute intelligence capable force helps your creative intelligence to develop artificial intelligence. So this is how we will know our own potential. This is what I would like to say, Rohitji, on Right to Enlightenment, that this is important for everybody to understand his own potential so that we can live in peace and harmony.
Thank you very much. This is such a great, great thing to understand, right to enlightenment. And could you also elaborate the fundamental principles of correlation of attention, information, and material, the what you call it as a COAIM theory?
That's wonderful. It's another very good question about COIM theory and practice. Now, I would like to say that what is the correlation of your attention? Because your attention is the outer expression of that creative intelligence. And that creative intelligence is connected to absolute. Now, this attention is like an omni scanner, which can see and act in all the directions. It's a capable force. So, what is the correlation with information? Because A means attention, CO means correlation of attention, A means attention, I means information. That is what is your mind. And then M is material, which is your body. So this information, which is, it has to be understood beautifully well. I think this is what will bring the harmony all over the world. People will understand what mind is. Because mind is nothing but information. Information of experiences and events in your life, right from your childhood till now. You pre-calculate the future, fears and worries get added into that. So this is what is the physical mind, which retains the information here. But then it has got 4 layers. It is connected to the astral mind, where you had planned to come out to make a body, right from the single cell to the human body. So how all that information is really in the form of astral mind. And the astral body is a progression as per evolution theory, that we are evolving right from the single cell to the human body. In the human body, we have got 50 trillion cells, and each cell is a living entity. Now, the beauty is to understand the layers of this mind, which is information, is a wonderful area, because you will know the correlation of your attention with this information. And this information is at 4 layers, as I am saying, that it is the universal mind, which is connected to the causal mind, where you took a decision to come and feel this creation. So all that information, how you made a sketch of a human body, because to feel this creation, you needed senses. So you created a sketch, and then you wanted to make it a real thing. So the state of art planning ability of your creative intelligence, how it works, that it starts from a single cell. How to create a single cell, because you are that light and sound particle and wave we have explained. We will explain in some of the talks that how we are connected with that particle and wave theory. How my soul is a particle of light, connected to its source through the wave, through the sound. And how it is like an omniscanner, how it works. Now, this is how has to be understood, that the correlation with that universal mind, with all the information systems and laws of nature, plus it has got a causal mind and causal body, that you wanted to have these senses to sense it. Then in the astral region, the state of art planning ability is working. How to make the first single cell. And this is like if light and sound, along with the laws of nature, strikes on pure elements, converts them into amino acids, and amino acids synthesize the proteins in the water. Because this earth was formed, we'll talk on this also, how non-material created material as well. Because once we talk about the material, we will come to that stage. But now I'm talking correlation of your attention with information. So all these informations, like you experienced in the first single cell, because that single cell dies. The mind, which is enriched with the information of the experiences it had in the first single cell, along with the creative intelligence, goes back to the astral region, comes out again to make a double cell organism. And that double cell organism also dies. The material remains here. The information and the creative intelligence goes back again into the astral region, comes out again to make a multi-cell organism. Gradually, crossing millions of species, you created the crown of creation, the human body. Now, this is how you use the information. So your creative intelligence, which is like a wisdom, and it has got state-of-art planning ability, its execution ability, many other beautiful attributes, which enlighten us what we are. How a creator has got all those abilities. We explain them as love, compassion, mercy, wisdom, humility, state-of-art planning ability, let us face as it comes, justice and appreciation, etc. These are divine attributes. So how this attention, which is like an omni-scanner and it is wisdom as well, how it uses all that information which it gathers from universal mind, from causal, astral, and then physical. All these minds are there, and these are all information. So the correlation of your attention with all that information, which is so huge, I don't know how to explain billions of gigabytes, and I don't know what words are used in the IT industry to explain that information, that how huge it is, and how your attention, which is like an omniscanner, can use it. Then now I'm coming down to the material part. Now, material, how we create, I mean, how we got this material, how non-material created the material, right from the first the first element is hydrogen. Now we have involved in our explanation, we call it COIM theory and practice. So in this theory, we are explaining that how non-material created the material. So we explain here that the divine was one and alone, and it became from one to many. It wanted to love. So some of the saints use beautiful lines, Prem sindase mojut jagat kiya ujas. In the sea of love, when it got awakened, it felt like loving. In the stride of bliss, it felt like loving, and to love the being of light, the absolute intelligence and a capable force. That being of light vibrated and the sound emerged, and he became from one to many. So that Big Bang theory starts little after that. And that is how one out of us, known as, in the modern science, we call it as Higgs boson, a particle of light again. We are all particles of light. We are all creators. So one out of us, as Higgs boson, had the ability to attract. All of us have got that ability to attract. So it attracted electron and a neutron. And that is how the first atom, hydrogen, came up with these two things. And it had the ability to attract, so it attracted hydrogen atoms, two of them together, and fused them into helium. And that is how the second element came. And then hydrogen and helium fused together, it created the first galaxy of suns and no planets. This is how the creation started. So we are explaining this phenomena, which is related to COIM theory and practice. That what is the source of that attention, and what is its relation with your information and material, because it is a creative intelligence. It's part of all knowing, all pervading, omniscient, omnipresent, and how it does. So it has the part of it, as Higgs boson, as a particle of light, had that ability. Because the creation is an intelligent design. I'm talking on material now. Because the material creation here is even a blade of grass. is intelligently designed. The whole creation is an intelligent design. So there got to be an intelligent being who's doing it all. So we are all representing that intelligent being and progressing to make the world much more peaceful and happier to live in here. So those two suns together, as I explained, the first galaxy of suns were there. Now we have got a beautiful video to show that how two suns together in a binary system known as pulsars are creating the remaining elements, the ionized material is being created. So this is how the whole elements periodic table was created, and how those two suns blast again at the end, create more suns. They carry away their ionized materials into different directions. And what really happens, that my sun in the center, along with its ionized material in the form of those gases in different orbits, in the form of, I mean, they are forming practically after cooling down into planets. So how our planetary system gets formed, how all those gases start condensing and become a molten lava, and gradually they cool down, the upper crusts are solidifying, and how that Higgs field, we call it as Higgs boson, had the ability to attract hydrogen and oxygen together to create H2O, known as comets, which is ice. And some of the comets came and hit the molten earth at various places. All those tectonic plates, the upper crust got cracked, so tectonic plates got formed and seas were there. So all that material, the molten lava, different elements, 100 and odd, boiling and cooling down, they got together, created those proteins. And our light and sound, along with laws of nature, created the amino acids to synthesize the proteins, the first single cell, and how we created the ground of creation, the human body. So this is what is material. So how your creative intelligence, which is connected to absolute, which you are representing, have created everything. You are one of the creators, right from single cell to the human body. So this potential is understandable through correlation of your attention with information and material.
Yes. Yes. So this is such a great way of explaining. Thank you so much, Bhardwaj ji. So another question which I have is regarding the impact of attention meditation. So we sometimes call it attention meditation. How does the attention meditation influence, like we are able to feel happy or physical well-being, and what, how does it relate to that?
Wonderful, Now what really happens, that your attention starts percolating through your mind, and then it further goes on into the body, 50 trillion cells, and through the senses of the body, this attention, which is like an omni-scanner, goes downwards and outwards into the world. It spreads. So this is what is your attention, which rather is connected to the time and material of this body, which we have got here. Since I was born till now, all those experiences and events, my attention, which goes through my mind, through my brain, through my senses, whatever I had seen, whatever I have heard, smelt, tasted, or touched through my senses, now my attention has gone downwards and outwards into the world. I remember my school building where I'm playing with my friends there in the initial primary classes. So you can imagine your attention through these senses, as because you had seen that building of your school, you still remember. So your attention has gone through your senses to that. You heard a beautiful song in your classroom, a beautiful prayer. Till today, you remember that because you heard it from your ears. So your senses have really gone back into that time and then they remember it. Something similar, whatever I smell, beautiful flowers, and then whatever I tasted from that particular shop, a very nice recipe was there, which I still remember. So my attention is going downwards and outwards into the world through the senses. And all that information is there in my mind. So this is how this attention which has spread, and it is involved with mind and body. In meditation, what you asked me, impact of attention in meditation is that you have not to focus your attention on the body or body needs. You have not to focus your attention on your mind, on that knowledge which you are using in your work or in the mantras or in your softwares or in your work. It is a mental yoga then. You focus it on the mind. But in meditation, this attention needs to be withdrawn from body and mind, both. Means from those affairs where you are connected. Your material body is connected to your material possessions, your building, your business, your children, and your mind, past and future. So this attention, which is really spread outside, and it has gone that far, it won't let you be happy, because this will keep on spinning you into past and future. Because Rohitji, you asked me about happiness also. Now this meditation is a technique which really makes you withdraw that attention which has spread outside, out of those 50 trillion cells and the senses of your body, the experiences and events of your life, and you pre-calculate the future fears and worries get added. So you have to withdraw this attention from body and mind. And the related aspects of your mind, the information, past and future, and the body relations, all your wealth and everything, you got to withdraw this attention from time and material rather, and then connect it to its source is meditation, where you receive a gush of knowledge, because it is part of all knowing, all pervading. I'll give you a small little example here. The small little seed which has got these three basics, because we are connected with the whole cosmos, which has got three basics: floating material bodies, the universal mind, and the absolute. That seed is also connected. His body is connected to 100 and odd elements, the material floating bodies. The mind of the seed is having information about that seed, past and future, everything. Suppose if it is a mango seed, it has got all that information, how many leaves will be there, how many flowers, how many fruits will be there, what kind of branches will be there. All that information is embedded in it. And then the creative intelligence, which is using that information of the mind and developing the tree. Imagine how wonderful it is. So I'm trying to give you that, the story of the seed, or wheat. If you put it in the dry sand, it won't germinate. As soon as the rain comes, it is that intelligent, because creation is an intelligent design. The life triggers into it, multitasking. The tentacles start going into the ground, the bud starts rising towards the sun. It already knew how to use solar energy. So it is doing that photosynthesis. It is part of all knowing, all pervading. Now for an experiment, we cover this small little plant with a box to block the sun and make a hole underneath near the roots from where a sun ray goes every morning. This plant turns down and comes out of that hole towards the sun. That proves that part, that wherever the attention goes, the divine energy goes. So this is what has to be told, that the attention has to be withdrawn. And then this is how you can know the potential of your attention, what all it can do. And once you withdraw it, you get connected, and a gush of knowledge starts percolating from your mind and body. Your attitudes will change and your behavior will change. That's what meditation does.
Oh, such a great way of thinking, Parvati. Thank you for your wisdom. And one of the question which comes to to our mind is the correlation of attention, information, and material, which we are calling it here COIM. How does it relate to the modern science? In what ways the COIM aligns with the modern scientific principles?
Well, I would like to say that I mentioned about particle and wave theory, and then gravitational and magnetic fields. And each atom, which is moving, electron, proton is moving into that. So the whole cosmos is a living entity. So this attention has to be understood, my dear. This attention has got all those abilities. It's yeah, but rather all-knowing, all-pervading. And how that attention scientifically gets connected is particle and wave theory, which tells us that the behavior of the particle is intelligent. In the double slit experiment, this particle divides itself into two and passes through that double slit. It becomes a wave or a particle anytime, anywhere. So this is what is an intelligent behavior. And that is what has to be understood, that this is the behavior and this is the correlation with the scientific things. Science and spirituality is now getting, it is merging into it. The science has explained this. We have reached that place. So we got to go to the limits of intellect and then go beyond. So we have found out this, that the behavior of the particle is intelligent behavior. Then we look into the universal mind, which is operating the whole cosmos on certain fields, we call it as a quantum field, magnetic and gravitational fields, weak and strong nuclear forces there, which are operating the whole cosmos in a predestined manner from Big Bang to black hole. So this is a scientific correlation of those forces which are running the whole cosmos in a rhythmic movement. And those gravitational magnetic fields even operate the sea here. On my earth, there's water. And through those gravitational magnetic fields, the water of the seas go high tide, low tide. And this is how the universal mind operates your mind. This is a scientific connection, that your blood, in your body, you have got 75, 80% water in it. It also gets affected. Now the science is after it. Now all those equipments are being fixed up in India also. That LIGO apparatus is coming here. There is a LIGO installation in other countries. So this is how you are now studying about the gravitational magnetic fields and how they affect your blood to go through high tide, low tide, and trigger certain components of your brain. This is a scientific connection, that there are many portions in your brain dealing with lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries. Those areas get triggered. And that is what makes my moods swing. So this is how is a scientific correlation of your karma theory also here. Because the universal mind has got all that information. Every action has got an equal and opposite reaction. So sometimes you talk about those cloud computing and whatnot. So all those informations are there. We are gradually creeping towards that. It is hardly 200 to 300 years of science. Now, the future is there that we'll be knowing all these areas. How that single cell in the human body works. It's a beautiful area to understand. And this is how I have explained the scientific aspects. And the last thing which I would like to say, the genetic code, is something wonderful to listen to that. It may extend 3 more minutes on it, but I would like to say a single cell has got some information, that genetic thing, in the double cell, multi-cell, into different animals. So how many genes are connected percentage-wise from our ancestors, right from the single cell it is coming there. How much it matches with the monkeys, how much it matches with the apes, and then we become human beings. Now the doctor can see scientifically in my genes how much it matches with the parental sides, my father's side and from my mother's side, all their families. Anything there is reflected there in those genes. You can see it, that how it is engraved. Your attention, which is a capable force, uses the time and material and engraves all that information on the genes, which is available in your genetic code. Something fascinating to understand. And then we would like to talk in some other talks, about the genetic engineering, how mothers can really design their children when they are in the womb. That's the next subject we may take it up.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Bhagavaji. Such a great way of explaining the modern science and how it relates to it. It's a fascinating subject, not only for scientists, but for students and through all over the places. And like that's where the education really starts flowing through. So, looking at the holistic and systematic education, and we call it HSE, could you discuss the core components of the holistic and systematic education program and its potential impact on fostering humane values and wisdoms?
The program is, we have got a heading that humane values, ethics, skills, habits, and wisdom development program. Now, in this, we are trying to tell you that what you are. We are trying to explain the potential of these three fellows within your body. Your body, how much it can do with those 50 trillion cells in such a brain, how many neurons are firing at a time, and how they are working, how we are listening things, how we are seeing. And this is what is something wonderful to understand, that how the whole thing works. And the education system, we want to start with the small little child from the nursery class onwards up to higher classes, where all that, how the whole creation has come up and what is their role here. They are representing the absolute. So what we are really thinking of, bringing sustainable human transformation through this right to enlightenment, and based on COIM theory and practice, that if one understands his own attention, the potential of the attention, something wonderful can happen. The children can do wonders out of that. Because I told you that how this absolute intelligence capable force, you are rather representing that. It is connected through the audible stream of life. And the outer expression is the attention. And wherever the attention goes, the divine energy goes. So this particular area, if the child knows what he is. Now, in this education system, as you asked me, most of the time people talk, and while talking, they fight because they do not know the origin of language, from where it is originating and where it is getting polluted. Mind and body pollute the language. So I'm going to tell you this, that the language comes from beyond, because we are representing the absolute. So the absolute talks out of us through our creative intelligence. It has to talk to the other person, to the other soul, embodied souls, of all those species, the whole flora, fauna, because we are the crown of the creation to look after everything. We are capable of that. And that is how we got to understand this part. That how this attention, which knows everything, has to be told to the children right from that age. That what the total system is, how to bring that sustainable human transformation. This will dissolve all the religions also into one. Because sometimes I talk that there are about 16 major religions, 4,000 sects out of them. And we are 8 billion people on this earth. All those religions are philosophies. And those philosophies develop our psychology, and that psychology develops our behaviors. Now, to understand, the philosophy of life is the main reason, my dear, for all the religious conflicts. Because we do not know the purpose of life. Whereas in this particular area, we are telling the child through this education system his purpose of life, that what for he is here. He is representing the creator. He is a creator himself. And how in the mother's womb that creator is working. The mother's egg and father's sperm has got all that information in the genes. And then there is a soul in that cell, the first one known as zygote. It is very, very intelligent because all that information it is carrying in that gene, it has to work up. It has got information what size of the heart will be, what kind of a disease it will carry as per karma part. What will be the size of the kidney? What will be the color of your eye? It is all there in that thing. All that information is there, and the creative intelligence in that single cell known as zygote in the mother's womb is becoming from one to many there. And that cell, when it travels down to the location of the heart, it transforms itself into a cell of a heart, which is working like a pump. The same cell goes down to the kidney, and then it transforms itself into a cell of a kidney, multiplies from one to many to form the whole kidney. The same cell develops your eye, which is much more complex than your brain. Can you imagine? That Almighty, we may call him, as absolute intelligence and a capable force, is within. It is not outside. We got to understand that how to really realize that potential, and the child must know that whenever he is in a problem, because mind will keep on spinning into past and future informations, and fears and worries will involve every human being here. The time and material needs will grind the person like anything. Now, how to remain happy under such circumstances? If you know that you are a creator, you have got state-of-art planning ability, you are connected to it, your source, which can develop all the kinds of things, which is part of all knowing, all pervading. Allow that attention to run your mind and body, whereas body and mind are running that supreme thing like a donkey day in and day out, making the soul like a slave. Slavery of the soul is happening, because the body needs and the needs of the mind are really crushing us. So the last point here is something wonderful to understand, that how this particular area has to be understood, that how body and mind are using that energy instead of that energy using these two fellows, mind and body. Hunger withdraws the attention first through the mind, and the attention takes the body towards the kitchen. By the time you are walking towards the kitchen, this fellow mind tells you about the taste it had earlier, that information. Maybe this wine or whiskey or any kind of a bad taste or anything, whatever it is. So the mind informs you, well, the money is like that, vehicle is there, shop is there, all information. So the hunger, the body need hunger is using your attention, and the taste, which is embedded in the information system in your mind, is using your attention. And the attention is, is dragged. It is used like a donkey, like a slave to do their jobs. Why it is so? Because the mind is purely information-based. You never told your child that you have got that divinity, and that divinity should run these two fellows, body and mind. And then it is perfect, because it is part of all knowing, all pervading. It will guide you through intuitions. Einstein also talked about that, how intuitions work. So I think I have covered this point. Few more minutes I have taken. Thank you very much. Rohitji, wonderful questions you are asking.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhardwaj. So such a beautiful way you have explained it. So looking at the vision for the right to enlightenment and duty to get enlightened, what are the long-term, goals, and how do you envision its impact on creating more harmonious, looking at from the
Well,
perspective of harmonious and a sustainable world?
yeah, because we are trying to bring in that sustainable human transformation by telling the potential of each person, and love is the essence. Because the Almighty was one and alone, and he felt like loving. To love it became from one to many. And that's how the saints have explained. In Bible, it is said God is love. In Gurbani also it is said, the fellow who has loved, he can only get to know his source, the Almighty. So this is what the love is, the essence. Even a dog needs love. Through love you can control those ferocious animals also. A plant needs love. It gives you more flowers, the small little thing. So the love is the essence. So if we can really understand that part, this will bring that change, that transformation in all the human beings, that we got to deal with love and affection. That is what is the basic area. Now, in the last talk, I was to tell you the origin of language. Language comes from beyond. Then it comes through your soul, which is connected through the audible stream of life to your source. Then the soul hands over the language to the mind. And mind has never known this because it is information based. It never knew that the language is coming from there and it has got all those solutions of life. Whereas mind, due to its ego, ignores that without its knowledge. It is not, knowledge has never been given to it. So no gyan is, in India we call it gyan. So that gyan was not given to the mind. So what mind does? It has got certain attributes, which is lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries. So based on that, it triggers my brain through high tide, low tide. And then the electrical movements go all over my body, the body language gets formed. Then all those vibrations go to the central diaphragm. As in Indian scriptures, this has been explained by Maharishi Panini, that the language comes from para, then it comes to this area known as Pashanti, then it goes to the central diaphragm. Between the lungs and the stomach, it moves. Small puffs of air through the lungs, through the trachea, comes out of the larynx and pharynx, and you speak out of your mouth. Two places the language has been, polluted by the mind and the body needs, illegitimate needs. And that's how the language comes. So this was another good information which I wanted to add up. And this is what will transform the people. This education system will tell them how to really talk, how to love. Another area so important in this education system we would like to take up is about the subject known as psychology. The Western scholars have written the subject psychology, and this psychology is dealing with mind and body. They have taken out the soul because they never had any information about the soul. Freud and all others have written beautiful things, They have scanned everything through their attention, but they have not mentioned about the soul. So what they have explained, that love at the level of the mind is lust, and at the level of the body it is sex. Whereas love is caring, unconditional love, and it is depicted from the mother's love. That is what is caring. Now the definition of love has to go to the whole world. And that is what, Rohitji, you've been asking, that how it will go to the whole world to understand the meaning of love, that it is caring for others. And that is what will bring that change if people will understand the meaning of love. Of course, it does percolate from your mind and body, and then the scholars writing psychology have written that way. We got to tell them to add up certain new chapters. We are working on it now. 2 psychology professors been here at our place yesterday. They have agreed to work up in these books. Now, these are the books, of psychology in India, NCERT. It starts from 11th and 12th. There are 9 chapters each year. We are trying to not rewrite, but additional book, where a comparative book will be there having 9 chapters only, infusing the spiritual dimension into it for 11th and 12th, which will go all over the world to tell the whole world that what love is and how love is caring.
Thank you, Bhardwaji. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in for our first podcast. So this podcast, I'm so fortunate to have Dr. Bhardwaji with us to tell us more about COAIM theory and also right to enlightenment and duty to get enlightened. So we will come back with a lot of new sessions. So don't forget the next session, which is coming for you, where we are going to talk about, is it possible to look at the stress and anxiety? Can that be reduced by just following the right to enlightenment? Can we have overcoming through depression? If somebody is going through depression, can we follow this through to be able to help us out? Can we transform the negative thinking into the positive transformation thinking for us? So that is coming next time when we connect. And till that time, we all say thank you, Bhardwaji, for your time. And we will come back to you and have a great session again. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rohitji. Thank you very much. So kind of you. The next topic will be very hot and things will be very exciting to know about yourself, how you can manage your problems.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for connecting and see you next time.